have filed applications from your clients, and immigration office has some questions, do they call you directly, the immigration office, about your client?
Very, very rarely. It used to be more frequently,
Yes,
but they call me now very, very rarely.
I see.
Very, very infrequently. Like not so long ago, I had a case where the beneficiary was sponsored. This was a case where a U.S. citizen son petitioned for a parent. Okay, but the birth certificate of the parent was sort of a very late birth certificate. A very late birth certificate. And we provided, and the issue was not to prove the relationship between the petitioner and the beneficiary, because the petitioner was born in the United States, so there was a very good American birth certificate.
Right.
But there was an issue about the birth certificate of the parent, the beneficiary, who was born in another country a long time ago. And the birth certificate was a late registration. And we provided all kinds of documents, and then the immigration officer, to my great surprise, called me and told me, look, it looks okay to me, but give me something more. So I said, some additional proof.
I see.
Something more.
Yes.
So I said, okay, I'll find you something more.
And you were able to. You were able to.
Yeah.
At least. That's good. So, well, why do you think they call you less now? Because the applications are almost perfect now, or because of doing it online, there are less mistakes?
Look, again, the actual applications are now much more detailed than they used to be 20, 30 years ago. Okay, for example, the I-130 petition, which is the basis for family cases, used to be 1.5 pages. Now it is between 20 and 30 pages. Okay, so there is much more information already provided.
I see.
And we already trained ourselves to provide much more supporting documents with the application. So there is much less need, okay, to communicate. And now they also developed much better system of request for evidence, what we call RFE, request for evidence, which they issue in writing, and they have it standardized, and it is very detailed. So they send it in writing, and they give you enough time to respond, and things work much better like this.
Now, when people do the applications online, and if they realize they made a mistake on their application with the correction changes?
Before they submit, okay?
I see.
Before they reach the point of submit. And if they made a mistake, they can either correct it later, or they can correct it at the time of the interview.
I see. Now, would you say, Attorney Golan, that if people were to send application online, that it is much faster in terms of processing compared to if they were to mail it, or is the same?
Basically, I think there is no difference.
I see.
I think there is no difference.
By the way, Attorney Golan, in terms of payment, is it true that they are now more accepting credit card payments?
Yes. Yes.
Compared to before, like issuing a check, etc., right? I see.
Yes.
And with the processing, is there a particular time frame? Would you know if it's like a family petition, it's a sort, like a few months, or if it's like a fiancé visa, it takes, 1 year? Do you normally have a time frame for each type of case?
Look, the Immigration Service publishes time frames, and those time frames are very generous,
I see.
which means they are very wide, and they are only averages, and they explain that every case is separate, is different, and the time frame does not oblige them to do anything within the time frame. And I always tell my client, with immigration, timing is only an estimate.